So my annual payment was $12 grand.
Okay.
So if I didn't make no money all year, at least at the end of the year, I knew I was gonna get $12,000. So my lawyer, he's like, yo, I'm hoping that you so under the radar and they not paying you attention that they missed the date for the annual payment. So I need you to just stay offline. I couldn't do nothing for 6 months, bro, just to hope that they missed the date. And they missed the date.
And so what happened when they missed the date?
So of course I'm not gonna fucking go to court with Universal.
Yeah. that's a
oh my gosh.
That's a mobile.
Yeah, so they settled out of court. They paid me $20 grand. And that was it. But after Universal, no other label would touch me again, bro.
Wow.
I feel like labels wanted me, but if they reached out to anybody, because Universal was like the parent label for Sony and everybody else. Yeah, so I had meetings with Grand Hustle and everybody that had their own labels popping. And everybody liked me, and then it would just be like randomly just stop. My lawyer like, yo, you probably got blackballed because of the Universal situation. And I'm like, all right. So at the time, I had built up a little fan base. So I was like, yo, I'm going to just start my own shit. I got a fan base that'll buy my shit, put it out myself. And I finally put my first album out 2013.
What's the name of it?
Better Than Good.
Better Than Good.
It's my first album.
And how was that project? Like, how was the process?
The process was easy because I had no pressure from labels. I could get in there and create. I had control of the release date. So it was just like, but once I put that album out, man, it felt like such a relief, like a weight was lifted off me. Like after all these 10, 12 mixtapes in, all these years, just to finally actually put an album out in the stores, I'm like, all right, good. And I did it by myself. So it was just like the amount of money that I could have made from that album, had I put it out with a major, I would have never made the money I made.
Yeah, because you would have been sure.
So I think it sold like 10,000 copies or something like that.
Independently, that's good.
And I was hyped, bro. I got that check from, who was the people we did my distribution? TuneCore, I think was the company.
Yeah, TuneCore, yeah.
I seen that check, because I used to get checks for like singles, but not like albums. So I'm like, oh man. Seen that check, I'm like, oh, I'm never fucking dealing with the majors ever again, bro. Ever again. So that was it, man. Better Than Good. It was the first album. So
who you have on?
It was pretty much everything was in house. I had my homie E. Luke. He's an R&B singer from Delaware. I had an artist that was signed to me at the time, R&B female, a girl named Giovanna. She was on there. I had my homie Zammy from Toronto. My boy Shorty Mac. That's like Ray J's right-hand man, but nobody knows he raps.
Wow.
But Shorty Mac, he's on the album. But for the most part, everything was in-house. I didn't have no big features for that. I had more big features on my mixtapes than my album, but everything was in-house. Just my team.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Because right now as a DJ, like, I want to create like an album. You know, I want to network with producers and artists. Pretty much the artists is going to be the ones I've been, working with for some years now. And I always ask people who have done like albums, like the process of the album and stuff, especially doing independently.
Yeah, I think the hardest part. I think in my case the easiest part was because I had control over everything. I was doing the production. I was running the studio sessions. I eliminated a lot of paperwork that usually goes into having a clear album. So of course I didn't use no samples on my album. Everything I produced was produced by me, or I had paperwork in place with the people who produce other records. That I made sure that they got their splits and their percentages, whatever they wanted. So I think the process was a lot smoother. It's hard when you got a body of work and you waiting on clearances from producers or their publishing or whoever the case may be. So because I didn't have that, I think it made the process easier. I had my own studio. I had my own design team that did my graphics and all of that stuff. So it was really since everything was in house, we was literally like a record label, and it didn't cost me much to put it together. So that was it. I could do it all over again.
So so after that album, you ain't working on another project after that?
That was it. I told myself I was turning 30. I had put the album out. I had turned 30, and I was so frustrated with the music business. That was it. I told myself I'm done. I did it. I put my album out. It did well independently, and I shot the videos for it, and that was it. I just walked away. Told myself, you know what? I'd rather just be behind the scenes. There's no pressure, because the way the music business is, you gotta constantly be creating content to keep up, really. So I'm like, now when I fell back from doing music, of course the people that was generally fans of my music was disappointed. So I'm like, well, I'm producing now, don't worry, you're gonna hear certain stuff produced by me, don't worry about it. And it was just like, wasn't the same. So I lost, these people that been fans of mine since I was 18. So as I got older, they got older. So now they parents and everything else, they grew up as I grew up. So my fan base, it kind of just stopped. Once I stopped making music, my fan base stopped. So when I came back recently, the response is a little overwhelming. It's weird because I'm like, man, I didn't even think these people was checking for me no more. Because it's been 3 years since I put music out. Since we just put The Creepin' out a couple weeks ago.
Which is a dope track.
Yeah, man. So
that's the track I want to talk about. I like how you sampled, the greats.
Yeah.
What was the whole mindset behind that track?
I think my thing was the generation for music right now. They don't understand. They was born in the 90s now, so it's like it sounds fresh to them, but for our age group, it's a familiarity with the music. So I was trying to figure out how I could still be hip hop, but still bring a 90s vibe. Because to me, that was like the best era of music. The 90s, all the R&B groups, the TLCs, the Blackstreets, the Boys the Men's, the Drew Hills, all of that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, how can I incorporate that? Still keep it hip hop to be able to rap on. And then so for the people who are familiar with the TLC record back then, and for the new kids who probably don't even know who TLC is, it still kept that alive. So I think it was a good fusion of the old and still making a hip hop record. And I'm so over trap. I'm so over trap music.
Why is
that? I think it's when somebody do something once. It's like, oh, all right, that's different. Somebody do it twice. I'm like, oh, okay, he did kind of something like the other dude. After the third person, it's just like, oh my gosh. So as a producer, the worst thing you could do is come to me in a session and you sit down with me and you want me to create a beat for me. And you ask me, yo, can you make me a trap beat like such and such? I'm like, no, that's not what I do. If you want a trap beat like such and such, you should go to such and such and get the trap beat.
So they try to compare you to like the
so
other
it's just like,
producers and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's like when you look at producers who really created a lane for themselves, they had their sound. So you look at what Jalil Beats was able to do early on. You look at what DJ Mustard did for a really long time. They carved out their niche, so it created a signature sound. So when people wanted that sound, that's where they went to get it. But if I could just say, oh, okay, I made a beat like a Mustard beat, or I made a beat like a Jalil beat, or a Mike Will beat, or I'm just a guy copying what all the people who really have their niche.
Yeah, you losing your identity.
So I have no sound. I'm just like the guy who can, like an impressionist. Like I could just do what other people do, and I'm like, nah. So I don't work with everybody, production wise. I can't. The SoundCloud rappers, the new ones, I can't work with them. And I think the problem with the music business is everybody's so scared to tell the truth. If you whack, I tell you directly to your face, that shit right there you did is whack.
I think it's not even just that. I just feel like the record labels, they see where the music is going now, and they really, like, they want that money.
Oh, they lazy though. The record labels.
Look at Atlanta, like, who the fuck is Bad Baby? Like,
they desperate, bro.
Yeah, like.
It's desperate. See, like how it used to be, you actually had to have a little bit of talent back in the day. But if you wasn't all the way polished, you was at least they could develop you.
Yeah.
They get you with a little stylist, get your look right, get you on a treadmill, working out, whatever. Get you some clothes, throw some jewelry on you, and then you good.
Yeah.
But because developmental deals don't exist no more, the record labels is just like, all right, who already got everything we need, and we could just put a couple dollars behind them to push them over to the next level.
Well, I think that's why the music industry is being so diluted.
I agree.
And you have artists that's I call them the hidden gems artists, because we have these artists that's still lyrical, that still got a story, that still got that flow like if you was in the 2000s or 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But all these other rappers that's commercial, they are covering like the artists that you need to listen to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, these artists that's like hitting gems, they're learning that you can just go straight independent, because now it's more independence now than ever. You know,
and if you look at the artists like that, that know they good, they talented, they great writers, they musically inclined, they don't put their music out as much because they keep it. Because I'm the same way. I'm like, I ain't want to put none of my stuff out because these people steal, bro. These record labels, all these big producers, they steal.
Yeah.
The Timberlands and all of them, I know they steal. They steal from they put a young producer under their wing, and the young producer do all the work. They just put their tag on, or they put a little on there, and now it's produced by Timberland. I don't like that, man.
So the industry is that grimy.
It's that
Even
grimy,
the
bro.
producer,
Yeah, because if you look at it, think about somebody like a Timberland or Pharrell or Ryan Leslie or whoever the top producers was, The Dream. These people were getting $100,000 a beat back then. And then now, the hottest people is some kid in college that got Fruity Loops. He's 17 years old. He's the hot thing. He had no musical training. He don't even understand, but because he had the program on his computer, that's it. So all them people out of work. Nobody paying Timberland $100,000 for a beat no more. So it's like, okay, how they gonna eat? Put one of the little 17-year-old kids that be making beats in his dorm room, put him under Timberland's upcoming production company, and then you just take all his beats and put your name on them.
So that's why, like, this is why I created this podcast, because it's more for like the younger generation,
Right.
Because I don't want them to go through what we all went through or going through in terms of being a slave for other people.
Yeah.
And like you put a great example of a 17-year-old right now, 16, 17 years old, about to go to school, about to go to college. Then he get an email from like a top producer or a record label, and they just use him.
That's it.
Like the money is cool, but at the end of the day, it's always about like you want to create like a legacy.
That's it. It's rare that you hear of a producer who signed to another producer ever be big. I'm sure Timberland got about probably 10 producers under him. Nobody knows their name. I'm sure nobody knows their name. I don't even know a producer who came up under somebody that's like, oh, okay. He came up here, he built this stuff up, and now he dope. I don't know none.
I think Kanye was like that, dude. Kanye was kind of in the back for a while before he blew up. That's probably like one
Yeah.
that I can remember.
But see, he wasn't signed to another producer. So I'm thinking like a producer who signed another producer. And then that producer actually, I can't think of one. I really can't think of a producer. But you see the same thing with artists. An artist signed to another artist, that artist never go be bigger than the person they got signed to. Period. You look at people like Ace Hood. Dope as Ace Hood is, he was never going to be bigger than Khaled.
And I feel like that is why it's artists that's afraid to not even just sign under another artist, but sign under a producer or a DJ that wants to be like in the front line.
Yeah.
Like I look at Rick Ross and I respect him because he made sure all his artists was had that limelight. You know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying?